To order, please stand and
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Paul, would you deliver the invocation?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you for our community and what you're doing and how you're helping us in this community. We ask for your favor on those that serve the community and blessings on them. And we ask that you continue to help us and lead and guide and show us the next steps to make this community be what she can be and what she should be. We ask the blessings on the meeting tonight and all that are here. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. All right, roll call. Alderman Ward 1, Jeff Watkins. Alderman Ward 1, Jason Osborne. Alderman Ward 2, Mark Greene. Here. Alderman Ward 2, Adrian Saunders. Here. Alderman Ward 3, Juben Moss. Here. Alderman Ward 3, Kent Schumann. Here. Thank you all for coming. Public comment. Tonight we have Eaton here to discuss our transformer plan discussion.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully my face is getting familiar. Again, I'm Brad Gilmore with Eaton Corporation. So we've been doing a lot of work with you guys on trying to bring the electrical system back up and running. If I could just give us a quick overview on where we are. We started with just doing some field preventative maintenance. That moved into some early designs. And now we're moving into large projects to modernize the Davis Street substation. That was kind of handicapped, if you will, with an industrial drive transformer failing. You guys have purchased a refurbished transformer that's about halfway through that refurbishment process. That device is not a plug-and-play device, and so today we're here to present the integration quote. That's going to be all of the engineering, the designs, the modifications to that substation to get that refurbished transformer installed and commissioned and working. So you were presented with a quote for that work. I can walk through any questions you have over that detail. But basically what we need to do is get that engineering going so that by the time that transformer shows up, we're not waiting for the engineering to catch up, but we're running in parallel together so that we can get that transformer installed as soon as possible. And so if there's questions over the specific scope, really it's going to be the engineering, the drawings. We're going to hire a subcontractor to actually do the physical installation. We'll remove the old transformer, set the new transformer in place. Our engineers will spec all the materials that are needed to actually change some of the electrical configurations to make things line up. We'll bring engineers out to test that transformer, make sure it's started up appropriately, all to code. Mark Dowell, who you might be familiar with, will be the project manager for that. And so he's local to the area as well. He'll be that single point of contact for anything that goes bump in the road. But otherwise, it's a pretty fair, simple project to get this installed and commissioned and up and running.
So what I'm looking at as far as the time frame, it looks like if we get started December, it'll take us clear through till approximately May to complete that transformer changeover.
So the engineering is 55 days. So there's about 11 to 12 weeks or so in there that we need to get that started now as soon as possible so that we don't wait. That transformer is at risk of sitting in the lot just waiting for the engineering to catch up. So if we get the engineering going today or as soon as possible, then we can be closer to when that transformer arrives, that we can actually deploy the crews out and be ready to actually do those modifications and get it installed, as opposed to letting it sit in the yard for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Which wouldn't be the end of the world, but it just leaves you more exposed. The longer that transformer you paid for, it's just not doing you any good until it's actually installed. And then the construction will take, the actual installation is about 4 days, transformer testing and commissioning about 5 days. So we'll be here about a week or two getting that installed. But that big lead time is the actual engineering, doing the designs to make sure that we have everything sorted out per code, per standard. And we've got our electrical engineers signed off on how to do it. And then we transfer that into a scope of work for an electrical contractor to actually execute upon.
Okay. So I am on page 8 where it says base price industrial drive transformer replacement, $398,553, which is what we have already purchased that.
No, this is a separate quote. So that the transformer is something that we found on your behalf, and we
Okay.
said there's no value for us to try to mark that up for you. So we sent you to the supplier directly, and you've paid for the actual physical transformer. What's left to pay for is the installation
Okay.
of that transformer. And because it's such large industrial equipment and it's a different, model manufacturer essentially, it's not plug and play. And so because that transfer of transformers is not straightforward, there's a fair bit of engineering and labor that's gonna have to go in to yank the old one out, put the new one in.
Gotcha.
And so all of the engineering, all of the designs, all of the project management, all of the installation labor, the commissioning to make sure that that transformer gets started up safely and appropriately, that's what this quote is for.
But it doesn't include the electrical,
What do you mean by
the
the
electrical engineering side of it.
So all of the engineering is baked into this quote. Today you've purchased just the transformer. So just material only. This is all of the engineering to rework the substation to allow that transformer that you've paid for to actually be plugged in and working. Otherwise today, if you didn't do any of the engineering, basically it would sit in the yard and be worthless. Because it has to be integrated. And the plug and play nature is the kicker. If we could just pick the old one up and put the new one in and just terminate some cables and be done, it'd be great. That's not the nature of this device.
And it wasn't an option. We searched and searched. And
This one was about the closest we could find. If you were to buy a new transformer and get all of the things that you would hope for to make the integration easier, you would have been waiting 2 years for it. Well, we got this one in 20 weeks. And you would have paid more for it too.
My recollection is the bond was gonna pay for this, and of course, we know
Yes.
where we're.
Yeah, I spoke with Joey McCliney this week. I let him know that we have Stephen Connolly coming on the 17th to do a cash basis audit. And Stephen has told me that an approximate time frame for that cash basis audit should be about a month. So Joey is
And
aware.
that will launch us into the big project, which is the Davis Street substation. But none of that can occur until the Industrial Drive substation is healthy.
Yes.
Because Davis is gonna go down for a while, and so the town's gonna need the Industrial Drive substation. And so, good or bad, the timing showed up that, hey, Industrial Drive fell down. It's a good thing we didn't start Davis and then have this problem, because then we'd be in a real pickle.
Right.
So now we're gonna bring Industrial Drive back up into healthy, it's gonna carry the town. Davis Street's gonna go down for the big project, and then we'll get it back up and we'll be healthier than we started today.
Everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
Page 9 has payment milestones.
Yes.
You can look at that.
Yeah, so this one does have a 20% on the purchase order and signed contract. And so our payment terms are net 30, so you don't have to come up with it immediately, but within a month, 20% down is what this quote's asking for.
Okay.
And then that 20% next milestone is that 90% engineering package. And then we can say, hey, that's, what was it, the 11 to 12 weeks out once that engineering is done. And so that can be when your next milestone is another 20%.
Okay.
11, 12 weeks later.
So we have, at most, 30 days to get a clearer picture and confidently be able to give you that 20% check.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did speak with Joey as well, and I think the intention is to refund
Yes.
based off the bond.
Yes.
Mhm.
So council, we don't have to make a vote or anything tonight. I know it's quite uncomfortable to make these large decisions without a clear picture of numbers in front of you. I do feel much better. We have a city clerk, Jennifer McDaniel. Jennifer, if you want to say hello. Jennifer McDaniel is the city clerk. She has proven to be quite an asset in just a short time she's been here this week. So I feel very confident and glad that she's joined our team, and I know she's probably going to be able to get us some numbers quicker than 30 days. So.
The one thing I'll say is if we do wait until the next city council meeting, and we push into Christmas and we push into the holidays, and so if we don't have a vote tonight that gets some of that paperwork moving,
Okay.
then we've essentially lost all of December, and so we can kick that out another 4 to 6 weeks before we're looking at paperwork to get started on the engineering, and so that's looking at just delaying that whole process, which potentially pushes that healthy transformer is going to show up, and it's just going to sit in the substation yard additional time. So any time we lose on the front end is going to get piled on the back end and delay the installation of that transformer.
I understand.
You got any idea when that transformer's gonna be delivered, roughly?
I think we're about halfway
About
through.
halfway.
And it was what you said, 23 weeks?
16 to 23 weeks was the,
He's only gonna be delivered until March.
But they have to start the preliminary process of getting the spot ready for the transporter to go.
Getting the engineering out going.
See what happens if we don't get the grant money. We take out one.
The grant,
What happens if we don't get the grant first?
if the bond falls through, if we don't get financing, it's not an option. It has to happen. What we will do is we'll have to pay higher interest rates. We won't get optimal interest rates. We will still get the bond and the money. Correct me if I'm wrong, John Russell, right? But we
I mean,
won't
that's
get
my
those-
understanding
yeah.
from Joey.
We will
that-
get the money, it's just right now, we wanna get finances in order so we can get the most optimal interest rates on this money.
That's my understanding as
Yes.
well from Joey. And he does talk about options for short-term financing
Mhm.
that may allow you to get, a little
Get
more
it right
benefit.
now and then refinance,
Correct.
yes.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that the money's there, the interest rate's the question.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're committed to this with already purchasing this transformer, so it's kinda.
Mayor, may I ask a question?
Certainly,
When is the $400,000 commitment for the engineering of the instigation of the project actually due?
Yeah, so that's what the payment milestones reference. So on page 9, there's a 20% down on the purchase order. And so 20% of that $398,000 will be due 30 days from when we start that invoice. So say, just theoretically, you gave us a purchase order tonight. We get all of that entered. That could take us, 3-4 days to get that entered. Shoot you the invoice. 30 days from that invoice is when that 20% will be due. And then another 10 to 12 weeks later, the engineering will be finished. Another 20% of that 400,000 or so. And then that kicks on as the project goes to completion.
so at 20%, we're looking at like $79,710.66.
Yeah. And like I said, if you gave us the purchase order tonight, it takes us a few days to get that entered, processed, all that stuff. Then we click the invoice button, that shows up to you guys.
Okay.
30 days from whenever that is. So you could even call it, 5 weeks.
Okay.
More than 4 weeks.
So we need a motion for the purchase order to be sent to Eaton for this project.
Correct.
And then you will invoice us, and then we will have to remit payment.
Within that, yeah.
$80,000.
Uh-huh.
Within
Correct.
30 days.
Correct.
Okay. So I have a motion, I have a motion to submit the purchase order to Eaton for the substation engineering costs.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Myrna, Jeff?
Mayor Council, like she said, my name is Jeff Arp. I'm one of the loss control consultants with MIRMA. MIRMA is the self-insurance pool that the city's currently a member of. Not only do we process and handle claims, we spend a lot of time, money, and effort promoting the best practices in risk management. We accomplish that through our monthly newsletter, visits, seminars, meetings, and the list goes on and on. Being a member, you can also participate in our different reimbursement programs. And one program in particular, and the reason why I'm here tonight, is our risk grant program. It was put together several years ago to help members offset the cost of equipment that staff has identified a need for that fit within our risk management mission statement. This past year, we received the following applications, and they were approved for the following amounts: an AED for $1,200, a flammable storage cabinet for $598.50, work zone signage for $742.50, a crimper for the electrical department for $2,722.64, and some reimbursement for the City Hall security system for $412.50. In total, $5,676.15 was awarded to the city through this program. I'd like to thank all the department heads and staff for filling out the application and getting this money up here to be used for these items. It is a reimbursement program, meaning you have to purchase the items first and then submit proof, an invoice and a check that you bought the items. So in lieu of a check tonight, I've got a nice IOU. That says we owe you the money, so you just get these items bought and we'll get you the money up there. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Mr. Cheek.
Mayor, Council, thank you for this opportunity. Appreciate it. I had an opportunity earlier this week to watch last week's meeting on YouTube, and I heard the mention of the Clarence Cannon Water District. I didn't get any, just as a passing thing, sparked my interest. I hadn't heard anything about the progress on that, so I'm here tonight to ask, where are we at? The last meeting I was at, Mr. Hall was here and he spoke about tying in out to the pump station with a new building and perhaps laying pipe by the end of this year and easements and so forth. Hadn't heard anything for a while, so I'm here to ask, where are we at with that?
Okay, thank you. I reached out to Heath Hall. We talk about weekly, and he was going to try to come tonight, but his kiddos have a ball game, so I asked him to draft me an email so I could just read it verbatim and get my verbiage straight to you so I could tell you what's going on. So, the surveying has been completed. The cultural survey work was completed about a month ago. The cultural survey report has not been received from the contractor yet. He expects it any day. Design of the water lines, 2 buildings are underway. The 2 buildings will be entirely constructed by EFI and will likely be the last thing to show up, as they are a long lead time item, about a year. We hope to place an official order by February 24. We've been working on shop drawings, details since last summer. 1 building will be located near the Monroe City waste treatment plant and will serve as a point of connection between CCWWC and Monroe City. It will contain a meter, some valving, and telemetry to go from the building to the Monroe City water tanks. This building will also contain some chemical feed equipment that George is providing and installing. The 2nd building will be located at the intersection of County Roads 519 and 562 and will be the pump station that pumps water to Monroe City and 2 other CCWWC customers. It is replacing the existing pump station that is in the same location. Easement acquisition is underway still. It is slow going as I am waiting on property descriptions and drawings from the engineer. Each easement has a drawing associated with it to show exactly where on the property the easement will be. I do have verbal agreement from most property owners. It's just a matter of getting the proper paperwork together and meeting up with them and getting the signatures. Due diligence questionnaire, we just filled out and got back to him today. And he says, here are the project cost details from Mo DNR's intended use plan for 2023. Total project estimate, $8,240,000, a $3 million grant, and an SRF loan of $5,240,000. And I have a copy of this if you'd like it. If you...
I'm hoping it'll be put into the minutes, of course.
Yes.
So.
All right.
Sounds like he's moving along with it then, and everything is still in good stead then.
Yes.
Excellent. Would you indulge me with one other question?
I will
It's
try.
not on the agenda.
Okay.
Last week I heard something about excess property or surplus properties and so forth. Got to thinking about the sewer area down there and the sludge and so forth. One of those properties used to be where we took our sludge and applied it to get rid of it down at there. And I didn't know whether that process still had to occur with our new building, or if we happen to sell 30 acres, where do we go with sludge?
I'll let.
And I don't need I want you guys to think about that.
We've already got an answer.
Yeah, I have an
Wonderful.
answer
We've
for
been
you,
addressing
Ken.
that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So the new plant has a sludge press, and it presses right into a dumpster and Eagle Ridge landfill out of Bowling Green. They
Right.
come pick it up and replenish it. So all of our sludge is going there and being used as alternative cover.
So we don't have to put it in the ground and
It no longer
knife it
goes
in
on the
anymore.
ground. That's
Excellent.
correct.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, if nothing else from public comment, I'm gonna move on. Oh, I'm so sorry, Gary. I totally did not mean to skip you, really.
Sure you did. You know, we had a board meeting the other night, and the question that came up, you know, Rich keeps wanting stuff, and I wanna know how you're operating without a budget. I mean, there's no budget, so how are you working at? Because you shouldn't be operating without a budget, correct?
We're operating with what we know is in the bank and kind of filling in holes in the G-Works in our budget and just making sure we don't overdraw at the bank.
So you.
Keeping it to them, and you know, we froze
So you
spending.
have no budget then, yeah?
We have last year's budget we're operating.
And you're still operating on
Yes.
from last year's
Yes.
budget?
And as I said, we have.
So how's that work? I mean, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but obviously the budget, there was too much money last year if you're still operating off that budget.
It's working, and we have Steve Connolly coming in December 17th for our cash basis audit, and as I said, our new city clerk working on the finances, so we're gonna have a clear picture here pretty quick, but the main thing is we're keeping it going, day at a time, and we're not bouncing any checks, Gary.
Okay, thank you.
That's the clearest answer I can give you at this point. Did you have something about rural fire, though?
That was it.
I know there was a,
Oh, you were supposed to get a check last Friday, but I talked to her and it's gonna happen tomorrow.
okay, but I hate to speak out of turn, but there was conversation about you wanna put in a mail drop box slot in a door to the building here in town?
At the fire station, yes.
Okay,
Rich, I bought that myself, and it's down there for Rich or somebody to put in, I don't know who's gonna do it. And I believe that, Jackie's going to say something about it. We had a person that came up to pay their rural bill, and, you know, the people down there didn't know what was going on for, I think what our intent is to get a receipt thing down there, so when somebody does come up, because for years, they came up and paid their bill at City Hall. And now they can drop that in a box in the fire station, or if they come up here and hopefully you guys will give them a receipt and take their money and then give it to Jackie or myself. That'll work.
well, I'd
That'll
like to
work
ask.
for you.
I would like to ask if when you put in that drop box, and so they can either drop it off in the drop box after it gets installed, of course, or mail it to a PO box. you guys are wanting to take over, you know, do your own financials and everything, so I feel like it should be all or nothing. If you're gonna collect dues and do your financials, you guys do it all. So if we could compromise on this, I don't want them taking cash down there or anything
They
from
won't,
fire.
nobody takes cash.
I would rather them, if at all possible, we put a box, rural fire board dues, and they can put it in, just put it in the box in an envelope or something and not touch the hands of the employees downstairs.
Well, you gotta give them a receipt. If you wanna do that, that's fine.
Well, you can, after you do the check down there, Jackie can get it on the seat.
We can,
Yeah,
we can.
I mean,
just
I mean,
to,
what we're doing, the reason we're doing this is, when the state audit was taking place, that's what they wanted done,
Right.
completely separated.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? We don't wanna be doing this little part and you guys are doing this little part. We're gonna do it. Let's
No, we
try
don't
to
want you
get
to
it
do
done.
anything.
Yeah.
We don't want you to do
Yeah.
anything. We don't want you to touch any of it.
Right,
So,
okay.
and if you see that it's not working, get ahold of Jackie and tell us what we need to do, but that's the intent. Anything that comes in with a rural fire protection district on it,
We put it aside
you know,
for
they give it to us and then we deal with it. And that box down there, they just drop it in the box down there and, Jackie sends them a receipt. So,
Okay.
and if it's not working, just let us know.
Sounds good, thank you. Anybody else on open comment? All right, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Council, if you could review the minutes from 11/9/23 meeting.
I can save this for my report, but you know, in the minutes at the last meeting, we voted to start shutting off people that hadn't paid their utility bills prior to July. And then in the packet, they're still on the list, so I was wondering how the shut-offs went for those people the council voted on a month ago.
So we were looking through, there was some discrepancy on how the process happens. Do we post notices? We post a notice and then we go and shut them off?
Yeah, I mean, it's in our, I mean, you post the notice, they've got a certain amount of time to pay the bill, and then if they don't, you go shut them off. I mean, it's,
Isn't there an ordinance?
we got an ordinance, the council voted to reiterate that, so I'm wondering, I mean, I don't know why, you know, some of these people are still on there from April.
Tim, to give me clarification on that, the discussion that was had on what the confusion was on the shut-off process that happened.
Well, in regards to the ordinance, you have to, once you give the notice, you have 2 Mondays after the notice has been posted that they have in order to come back and be able to pay for it, and many of them did come in and go on payment plans. And so with that, then they paid the amount that was requested on the delinquency notice. And so that's why they're not shut off, because they're still on that. That was Jackie and Phoebe and Christina and all of them figured out what the amount was that they needed in order to keep them from being shut off. So that's where that came from.
How do I get on the payment plan?
And we have collected how much more in late utilities?
71,000, that's on that delinquency list.
That's collected or went off the list? Because if you go on a payment plan, you come off the list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not my, so if you owe $10,000, you pay $1,000, you go off the list, that amount goes down 10,000, but we didn't collect 10,000, right?
Correct.
The amount just, no, that's not.
Not fully correct.
No. It's still gonna reflect that it's owed minus just the 1,000 payment.
Yes. Because it gets wrapped in. But they made the payment towards their delinquent notice.
So there was a resident that paid against an extremely delinquent bill, partial. That resident was already on a payment plan. How can we even cut them off?
And some of them, I mean, the report was generated Wednesday and it says last paid, like, there's one April 17th. So if he last paid April 17th, how's he
Still have utilities.
still have utilities? When the council voted to take care of that. And there's multiple on here from April.
Several of them might be NECAC payments as well, and we can't shut.
But there's
those
no
off.
payment.
But there was a pledge from NECAC.
But there, like this one I'm looking at, it's a business. Does NECAC do businesses?
Yes.
No. NECAC doesn't support.
Or pledge to businesses, no.
So I guess my question is why do we spend all this time coming to meetings, council members not getting paid for their time, voting, and then it doesn't happen?
Did we cut anybody off?
No. So we've never cut
We
anybody?
did not. We did not.
If I may speak, as an old council member, we've been fighting this battle for 25 years. Nobody has put teeth into this yet. I would appreciate if this council took that into consideration and put some teeth into this thing.
But they did, they voted.
They
That's
voted?
that's
Why
my
don't we-
question,
why
is
don't
when
we
the
do it?
council votes to do something and it doesn't happen. I mean,
We voted twice.
right.
The implementation and follow through is not occurring.
The policy is absurd.
They've got a policy that works, and the city council, what you're saying,
Actually, the policy does not work. It needs to be revamped. There are so many things wrong with our utility policy. It's crazy. I
But
mean,
if
you
you don't-
shouldn't, like, let me read this one thing. If the residential customer cannot pay their bill in full after the second Friday of the following month, they will be disconnected on the next Monday, beginning after 9 a.m. No, it should be, you post a notice, really, you don't have to give a disconnect. If you're late, it says on the bill, you will be disconnected after this date, then there shouldn't have to be any other paper trail. You get disconnected.
I think that's the point.
Yes.
Why aren't they just
So,
gonna hit?
this crud needs to be redone.
Yeah, but we voted.
And I understand that, and you're absolutely right, it should have been implemented, because the vote was made by council, then the next.
And
thing
I'm
is
not
declared.
attacking you.
Yeah.
I mean,
But part of the problem, we didn't know what to do. I mean, I didn't know how to do disconnects. When you guys fired Shirley, I had no idea how to do any of that.
That's what department heads are for.
I mean,
right. You give
we
them
had
the
no-
list
we had
and they
no
go do it.
guidance.
When people are delinquent, you go out. and let 'em
You
off.
turn off their gun.
But then that was when we found the utility policy that said we had to do it the 2 Mondays after the first Friday, and so then we had to stop because the paper said we couldn't do it, that we wasn't in that timeline.
But why don't you just simply do what the city council voted for you to do?
Why don't you change it right now? Get together and make a one simple thing and do it. Don't go to Berlin.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
there's
sorry.
a lot that needs to be rewritten, and the mayor actually, she had suggested that we put together a committee and go back and reread it and close in these holes with people from the community. But does the vote that we made, does it override the ordinance?
Well, it's
Well,
in
the
line
ordinance,
with the
it's been a
ordinance.
month, so
It
there's
has
been
been a
plenty
month.
of time to follow the ordinance.
But
That's, nobody called me and said, hey, John, we're struggling with interpreting this ordinance. Can you take a look at it? Let us know how to implement it. Happy to do it. That's why I'm here.
so.
Whatever you pay me is a lot less than you would have collected. I mean, look at these numbers. Nobody called. If you're struggling with implementation, that's why I'm here.
Why are you voting on something if you're not even familiar with the ordinance?
They are. That's not the,
The vote was in line with the ordinance.
yeah.
It's just the policy was not understood. When they looked at the utility policy, they were like, well, we can't shut them off because the policy says this. So there was just some discrepancy there.
So to some of the people that have been here a while, did it used to be printed on our utility bills? If it's not paid by this date, cutoff happens this date? Does anybody remember that
That was on the love letters,
on the love letters?
the one that they put on the door.
Yeah.
The first love letter.
Yeah, all the I mean, did all the postings happen on the doors?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, that language is clear.
So they get a post on the door that if you don't pay at this certain date, you're gonna be cut off. But then they're never cut off.
They weren't.
Well, hell, I'll never pay my bill.
And then you wonder why you're out of money.
So do we have the department heads, do we have the staff to go cut? To shut them off?
So if it's already passed, the date on that letter that was posted, so technically tomorrow we can go to
Right.
shut-offs.
Right.
Is that what I'm understanding
Yeah.
legally? Okay?
They've been given ample notice.
What about the 32-degree law rule?
We're not there.
Yeah, it's gonna be 60 degrees again tomorrow, so. Okay?
I mean, I think that
What do we do with the medical ones that are on file, that have indicated a medical issue?
Have they?
Are they on this list?
Yep.
Well,
What have a medical issue?
The doctor's notes, file.
That they have brought in doctor's notices?
That they have oxygen, or, a child with disabilities, they can't go without a power source.
So John, what
but
do
they're
we do
not
in
going
that
on,
instance?
they're not on payment plans? They're just not paying at all?
I mean, it's a decent size, some are, it's not a one size
And
fits
some of them
all.
are NEPAC pledges and some are not.
We legally.
Well,
anytime
send them to me, I haven't
it's
seen any of them.
30.
I mean, if that's a problem, this is the first I've heard of it.
so if those same people get a notice on their door that they're gonna be shut off, and they know that they gotta go get a doctor's excuse, but they don't, I mean, they're not, I don't get it, I mean,
Well, we're not talking about ones that don't have a doctor's excuse, we're talking about the ones that we
We
do
have on
have
file.
a certified doctor's letter.
But they still can't make their
Clearly.
payments.
Yeah.
So what do we do if they have a doctor's excuse and they still can't make their payments?
I mean, this is the first I've heard of this. I mean, send them over to me, I wanna look at that. How many people on this list are in that camp?
A lot.
We should be.
you know, I think what we got into, that Monroe City's pretty well known, that, hey, you don't have to pay your bill, you can get around it, and it's not just, like Ralph said, this didn't happen yesterday, but it seems to be the easiest town to get by with that.
Like the doctors know it's a free pass.
So I guess we'll be doing some shut-offs tomorrow,
Thank you.
okay? What about,
What utilities are you looking at shutting off? All of them, or?
I'd say the ones you voted on at the last meeting
No,
at
I'm
least.
talking about gas, water, sewer, electric, or what.
Yeah.
If they have an oxygen problem, they have a doctor's excuse, all that requires is electricity. Shut their
Right.
gas off, turn their water off.
Right.
And they leave the half the electricity, there you
Right.
get their doctor's excuse.
Right. Well, they go off the list once they go on the
right,
payment plan.
if they do not, miss a payment on their payment plan, and then they're.
But that one we were talking about it has been on a payment plan since March. They paid half their bill and it asked to be on another. They hadn't made a payment since March.
So
they were in violation of their payment.
Right.
There should not have been done. Thankful that the payment was made. Without the law, even.
I was looking down here, we had a few businesses on the list last time, but I don't see any this time.
How does a business get on the list of a payment plan?
Well,
Before my time.
Well, I mean, that's something I think they definitely needs to be looked at when you redo the.
Well, we have Missouri Metalcraft, that's a big business that's on
Could you
payment plan.
explain, Ms. Mack, a payment plan? What, is that to get them paid down?
What they have to do is their delinquent amount is divided into 6 payments, and on top of the regular monthly bill, they have to pay that delinquent amount in addition to.
So 6 months on
Yeah.
delinquent. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so are we clear what needs to be done moving forward with utility shutoffs will occur tomorrow? Yes, George?
As a department head, knowing that when we shut people off, then we're gonna have a lot of issues on Saturday and Sunday, doing it on a Friday. I would plead with you to let us do this on Monday, and then we have staff to, otherwise I'm driving from Canton here to turn people's water
And it
back
does
on.
say, if the residential customer cannot pay their bill in full after the second Friday, they will be disconnected on the next Monday, beginning after 9 a.m. So it would be Monday morning when we start these shutoffs. It would have to be Monday.
Put the notices out Friday.
Yeah, I don't have a
Notices
problem
out
with that.
tomorrow and do it.
But the notices have already been out.
They already were notified.
They're there.
We can do it again.
No,
No.
it's not
So
necessary.
you don't have to do that extra work.
It's done.
So 9 a.m. Monday morning, this will commence.
Okay.
Is it gonna be 30 degrees on Monday morning?
That was it, what's the weather like there?
It's supposed to get snow on the weekend.
I mean, during the night.
Here, it's supposed to snow on Sunday.
Well, we'll keep it on track now, though, if we get to that.
Water can still be shut off.
No, but if it's below 32 degrees for 2 days, we can't do it.
Well, I mean, we
And that's
just wait.
electric,
I mean,
not water.
Yeah.
Not water?
Water does not have a
Monday, it's supposed to
temperature.
be 44 degrees.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we won't park it until we get to that point.
We've got Friday 60 degrees, Saturday 46, Sunday 37, Monday 44. Don't hold me to that. We live in Missouri, but that's what it says right now.
I thought they were.
Who's that?
John, are you in the office tomorrow? They don't.
I'm gonna be in court a lot of the time, but I'll be in. What?
Tomorrow afternoon? Tomorrow.
Depends when it gets done. I'll be back by 4 here.
Then they get
Okay. I'll bring over the list.
Okay,
And you can drop it off anytime.
we'll go ahead and move forward then. Oh, I think we got sidetracked here. Did I get a
We need to approve the
motion?
minutes.
Mayor, go ahead and make this meeting go. I'll approve motion to approve the minutes from November the 9th, 23.
Thank you, Alderman Greening. I have a motion to approve the minutes from 11/9/23. And a second, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next in your package, you'll find an amendment for the 2024 FSA plan. This amendment would bring the FSA anniversary in line with the health plan's deductible anniversary, which is 1/1. So just to make things jive a little smoother.
So when's their end date now? When's the calendar year?
Let's see. The plan year will be amended to a short plan year whereby the dates will run from 2/1/23 to 12/31/23. So if I could have a motion to approve that amendment to the FSA plan.
How many people do we have participating in this? Have they been made aware?
This is just changing their anniversary, it increased their maximum adjustment that they get to do if they want to.
Make a motion to approve the amendment resolution adopted by consent, to increase the timeframe from 2/23 to 12/31/23 in the FSA.
I have a motion to approve the amendment for the 2024 FSA plan. and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Financials. We have accounts payable.
I'm gonna ask this, I ask it every meeting, but how many cell phones do we have?
A lot.
No, we paid US Cellular $3,964. Now, how many cell phones can cost that much?
We're throwing Sheridan Valley in that.
Part of that is the PD. So you've got.
Well, how many they got? One per office. How many offices they got?
We've only got one cell phone, rest is the MiFi's.
Oh, the Wi-Fi stuff.
How many what?
MiFi's is the mobile data, that way we can run our computers.
That runs off, US Cellular?
I believe so.
I just think they're doing it, I figured they'd pay $4,000 a month. Four phones, this is four phones.
Is that a statement?
We could call Verizon, maybe get a,
I don't think their service is that good up here, man. So
who else? What other option do we have? What were you thinking? A resolution?
honestly, I don't.
Morse code?
Carrier pigeon.
You gotta laugh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do.
come up here?
Oh, God, no. T-Mobile?
I mean, I know it's going on.
Well, that's.
That's a lot. Yes.
Well, I think the main question is how many lines are they actually getting? Are they sitting?
Jennifer, in your extra time, you wanna
Just cut them in half.
call US Cellular and get a breakdown of our bill and see what the heck's going on? Actually, extra time, that was a joke.
It's something we're gonna have to do in partnership with the PD and.
Yeah, we gotta make sure.
When we originally got those MiFi's, they were on unlimited data, we were not getting any overages, and it was not nearly $4,000. So I don't know why that would be reflecting as $4,000.
And you know what, and I wonder if it's something, we haven't reviewed the bill, and I don't know how you guys feel about US Cellular, but I have to review my bill with a fine tooth comb, because there's always something wrong on my bill every dang month.
We only have 3 MiFi's and 1 cell phone, and that's it.
Okay.
Don't y'all have committee meetings?
Not cell phone committee meetings.
Would be public safety,
Yeah.
whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a little confused if I may ask a question.
Me too. What you got, Ralph?
Okay. You're working on last year's budget.
Yes.
Paying this year's bills.
Yes.
And then we don't know what this year's bills are because it's not itemized.
So what's the question?
Why is it not itemized? And why aren't we looking at it?
It's itemized, we have what bills we need to pay, and we're trying to just pay the ones to keep things rolling until we figure out what we do have. And like I said, I don't know how more else to describe how we're running, but we're just.
Maybe you just need to quit rolling things and stop everything and go to basics till we.
That's where we're at. I mean.
I can't see that there's been anything changed.
Like what?
Like the community and where you haven't done anything there, but to change.
Such as, I mean, what do you, we have to have a conversation.
We do, you're right, that's why I wanted to meet with you.
I'm highly offended now. Okay, we're gonna move on. We know US Cellular is an issue. So we're still looking at accounts payable.
Is Conley's retainer, is that really just one, or is it
It's just one. It's on line 46 and 12, cross one of them off. Yeah.
So it shouldn't be on the twice.
Right.
Yeah, the number 3, accounts payable only has one, just that one copy. So this one here.
Yeah, those were the invoices that were submitted
Today, yeah.
I wanted to get them in front of the council.
So combined, all three. There's this invoice for 126 for recently something, but the other 700.
So I have accounts payable 1 and 2. There's 3 and 4?
There's just three.
Just 3. And what's the total on 3?
253. The total between 1, 2, and 3 is 583, 437. And that does not include this.
Where does this one go? Is it additional local bills?
Adrian and Jason have asked about J.C.'s, because J.C. said that we were COD, and I just now got the invoice for $963, so I don't know why it's that's what, and it is a current invoice.
Is anybody here from a golf course? Yeah, sure. There's a bill to Ricketts for $898. You know what that is?
I'm guessing chemicals. I don't know that for sure, but Ricketts is a chemical thing. I'm guessing chemicals, but, okay. I can find out for you. Just, because it doesn't say, your invoice doesn't say what it's for, it just says a bill. Or how much? 9 what?
898.
Okay. I'll try to find out.
Hey Gary, on this one, and you might not know, Rich, Timothy said that Rich turned this in from 2022, bill from Banner Fire Equipment for $31,726.30 from 22.
I had a salesman call me and I don't know. I can't tell you why. I mean, it apparently, his thought was he turned the bill in and worked with Rich to get it, and he didn't know whether it was turned in or not. I don't know what the mess was. I brought it up to Timothy the other day, yesterday, or Monday, I think it was. Yeah. But it was supposed to be split between the fire department and the city with turnout gear. And it took a year to get the turnout gear in, so that might have been part of the delay.
So,
Rich did say he did hand that to Chris to pay last year.
so all of these bills that have not been paid, that, you know, we're having to pay, like the back taxes and stuff, you know, I think somebody brought up the question, and it's the same question in my mind. If the bills weren't paid, then the money should be in the bank, right? If you don't pay it, it should be sitting there.
Should be.
So I'm like so excited for Steve Connolly to come in here, and I'm hoping he tells me.
And that $25,000, or whatever it was, 31,000 was budgeted that year.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there was no, why didn't it get paid?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. The main thing is get it paid, because it was really embarrassing for the city. And as I told the salesman, it's partly his fault, because half of that stuff didn't come in. So if he didn't follow up, how the hell was we supposed to know?
Right. Okay.
One of the things that is also a contributing factor when it comes to the fact, like you said, and like the mayor is saying, you would think that the money would be there. And that's what Jennifer and I were just discussing, is if you're not having regular financial meetings with your department managers so that they can see and you can have a conversation of, these are the expenditures we've had this past month, where is that one on this printout, where is it missing? You'll catch those a lot sooner. But general, regular oversight, protocol, HR processes, none of that's been in place for the last 4 or 5 years. Again, wanting to know why some of the department managers don't even know what their budgets are. I'm pretty guaranteed sure that they turned in their CapEx, the rest of the budget Chris created, and from there, that's where that budget came from.
I would have to stop you on that, Tamika, because I know Jackie, I was an alderman with Jackie Pinkhorn, and I know she met with her.
No, prior, but I'm just
So
saying.
not 4 to 5 years, maybe.
The last year or so.
Yeah.
But like her and I talked this Monday, you know, we were, you know, one of the department heads was going to purchase an item, and he didn't even have to write a PO. He just said, oh, I'll just go up to City Hall and buy it. It's like, what? I mean, back in my day, there was just an old-fashioned purchase order book, and when we filled our budget out, we knew, you know, it's turnout gear. If it was $10,000 and I was gonna spend $500, I would issue a purchase order, take it to them, and they'd either okay it or not, and then the department head would subtract that from the
And that's how
turnout gear, and that's what she's saying.
That's how we're doing things now, but we can't.
It got lost.
Right.
But it should be happening now.
It is happening now.
Perfect.
Yes. In fact, there's not very many purchase orders coming in through because they know, every
Well, there
department
shouldn't
knows
be,
we're not spending.
Shouldn't.
We're trying to keep your
I was
gas,
just-
your electric, you know, your utilities on for our citizens,
I was
and
just shocked.
So we have a spreadsheet for each department that the council can see at every meeting showing all their expenditures categorized?
that's what I want.
That's what we're working towards.
Well, how do we, if we have it, how do we not be able to produce it?
You're gonna have a consolidated budget, and then you'll have department budgets that support the consolidated budget. And it also will be an Excel spreadsheet, so that when you make the deductions out of that particular line item for that particular department, it affects the overarching consolidated budget.
But
So
if it's
that's-
happening now, can't that be provided to the council members to review? Since it's being done now, whatever format that is?
I can work on it for this next council meeting.
Well, I mean, if it's there, that's what I'm saying, if it's there, it should just be
But
printed.
it's not gonna be a correct depiction because we don't have the beginning number to start with.
Yeah,
All
but-
we have is something showing the
I was
expenditure.
Yep.
But
Where
you
the
could-
holes are is where the beginning number is, so it doesn't reflect the proper imbalance.
But you would at least know what each department.
What the
is
expenditures
spending.
are.
By
And that
category.
part, I can, that's done, I have that part. The expenditure section, I have done. It's the revenue part that we had to fill out, because there's deposits.
Okay, so we're on bills payable right now still.
On this one, we don't have the invoices.
Some of them you do not have the invoices. They have the most recent statement, I wonder.
So they keep the invoices like street department, and they give them or submit them to you.
They're supposed to, yes. We don't always get them, so that they have to hunt them down.
So what bills?
So what I would like, Jackie and I were just having a conversation, like on JC's, because you had asked me about JC's. I said, if there's a way that we can get JC's to actually get us at City Hall the invoice versus having the guys bring the invoices in, that would help a lot versus us just getting a statement from JC's and then having to go track down whether or not, and I have folders for each one of the departments. I also have one specifically for Roby's, and I also have one specifically for JC's. But again, the invoices don't make it into those, and then you gotta track them down. So if I have it coming from the business directly, it would be a lot cleaner and a lot faster in order for us to keep up on paying bills.
I don't disagree that we need to make our people accountable.
Yeah.
It's their responsibility.
It's like,
You can take it to the.
today, $1,200 for Roby's, I thought we put on
Spending freeze, yeah.
That's $1,200 right here today.
I've seen that.
But I don't agree with voting on approving these bills. I think that we need to have a meeting next week and make a list. We go through these bills and make a list that we go through these and make a list that we can eliminate some of these things and see what's wasteful spending and what's presidents need to be paid for, what kind of bills it needs to be drastically paid for today.
Well, you have to pay your contracted services, and Dale Buckman is on here. People Services, City of Palmyra, that's a contracted services that we have with them. Danes, if you want your trash picked up. Jackie, who's been working her butt off in here with us.
MPU is also.
MPUA, if you want gas. Anthem, employee health insurance.
Banner fire equipment,
Banner that we owe.
2 years ago.
I mean, I understand your hesitancy in that, but I also don't know how we're gonna keep.
I think, in all fairness, we've looked through these, most of these. The biggest majority of these are monthly expenditures.
And you
that
can't
aren't
dispute
exact.
something that you've already used. If you've already got the service, or you've already got the supplies, you can't say you're not gonna pay for it now.
Are still going out and purchasing stuff without running it through, like aerobics.
Is it necessary stuff?
No, is it specific departments?
No, it's all of them, street, gas, electric. It's when they're working on projects within, I mean, out in the field, and they need an O-ring, or they need a coupler, or they need something, they're gonna get it, so that they have it, so that they can finish the project. So, I mean, they don't carry those kinds of parts in order to buy it that way, like in mass quantity, like, not all of them, some, but not all.
Even with the spending freeze, don't you need a discretionary fund? It
Yeah.
says, we've got $5,000 sitting here, and each week we've gotta look and see what project couldn't be finished if they did go buy a couple of roadies. I mean, you gotta have a little buffer for realistic stuff.
What's our shoot for the envelopes?
Different types, for different reasons, whether it be for a CD and a padded, or whether it be for actual case file evidence, different kinds of evidences.
We have PD's hosted services on here. We have to, PD's gotta run.
And those are like the mules, the 911 service and contracts that we have.
Kim, the uniforms that are on here, on the PO that's in here, is that for an officer? Kim Beers.
Was it the pants?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was,
yeah.
I was.
Yes.
That's the gear.
Yeah, on the PO.
Yeah, me. It's all bit on me. I'd like to ask a question though. Has this governing body reached out to anybody from the state of Missouri to come in and give us a hand, like
Most
economic
definitely.
development or something like
Numerous
that?
times,
As
yes.
opposed to hiring another accountant and so on and so forth?
Most
And what
definitely.
have they said?
They do not have the resources right now. I met with Senator
Right.
O'Laughlin twice.
They don't have the resources either.
I have met with Senator O'Laughlin twice. We sent out requests for auditors to 30 different individuals. I spent numerous hours on the phone personally reaching out to auditing places to ask them, to beg them for help.
Wow.
So trust me, Ralph, I've done my due
Yeah.
diligence trying to get resources in
They'll
here.
be here when they need votes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Senator O'Laughlin was helpful in getting us, it has a little leverage when the senator calls the IRS.
Yeah.
Then they will, you don't have to wait in line, press 1 for this, press 2 for that. So
Right.
that was handy in helping us, and helping Gary catch up on our back taxes.
Good.
So, that helped a lot. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I reached out to them. I said, we need to be audited. Hello,
Could you tell us out of the 583,000, how much of is recurring? like, how much will we have next month? Is there 100,000 on there of past due stuff that we won't have next month?
What's the 500?
Yeah, cause 30,000 was for fire equipment from 2022.
400,000.
There's about 400,000 in there, and the MPU is over 200,000 alone, it's 222,000, and that's,
Yeah. Per month.
coming up to 40% of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer was what, I'm sorry?
About 400,000 is recurring. Yeah. Cause you got MPUA, who is about 36,000 every month.
In all fairness, it has been 4 to 5 weeks since we've approved the budget, so this is a little higher probably than.
Right.
I make a motion to approve the accounts payable for October 16th through November 8th.
I have a motion to approve accounts payable from October 16th through November 8th.
Including these.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, say last time you all approved this.
That says 16.
It says October 16th through November 8th, but actually it's longer than
It's
that.
longer than that.
So yes. So
accounts payable through today.
Okay.
Yes.
Through current. Okay, so I have a motion to approve accounts payable from October 16th to
December
current.
7th.
To December 7th. And a second, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
2 opposed? And 4 yeses. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on.
You're right.
Stephen Connolly is the CPA. We have the CPA engagement letter in your packet. We did a virtual vote, so we just want to seal the deal in public for that decision that was made to retain his services, to get him here ASAP. And like I said, last time I spoke with him, which was day before yesterday, he was hoping for December 17th to be here, so.
Did they talk about the cost of that?
Yes, I'm just looking for that. Yep. There's my engagement letter.
Around
11
11 to 15 grand.
to $15,000 and a $5,000 retainer. Did you guys have
$11,220 to $14,970 plus out-of-pocket costs is the fees for the audit range. There's a $5,000 retainer for the year's audit work, and that was already approved in the accounts payable that you just had.
And it was on there 2 times, so it's just
Yeah.
1 time.
Yep.
So you just approved that tonight?
The $5,000
The retainer.
The
Yes.
retainer.
Okay, okay.
But not the other expenses.
Well, it was in the contract.
Is that after the work is done?
No, that is, it says in there when he wants to be paid, I think.
Our invoices for these fees will be rendered each month as work progresses and are payable upon presentation. In accordance with our firm policies, work may be suspended if your account becomes 30 days or more overdue.
So we don't have to make a payment until after he's been here and done something.
Right, yes.
Like the last auditor that took us for however much money and never showed up again.
We just need the $5,000 retainer fee.
Well, we just approved it.
Yes. We will get that cut tomorrow, so we'll be that.
Okay, mayor's report. I don't think I have anything to add that I've already spoke about this evening. We do have the new library director, Becca Jennings, wanted to be here this evening, but she had a sick little one, so she gave us kind of current happenings of what's going on in the library. And anybody is welcome to this if you're interested in what's going on with our library. I was thinking there was something else I wanted to tell you. Let me check my notes. Carrie Lee and I have been talking with Churchill. What's his, Aaron?
Adam Churchill.
Adam Churchill. He is with, Eaton, about a DOE grant, Department of Energy.
Yeah.
Okay. The deadline for the first paperwork that they require, which a grant is a long process, is required by January 12th, but Carrie Lee and I are gonna get it to him because it's a $9 million grant with the city being responsible for $3 million, which could be tied into the bond, part of the bond, because it will be for the substation upgrade. So we'll be working on that. I think that's all I have. All right, we'll move on.
Aaron?
Yeah.
There, Dave Wick and Brad mentioned that, I think I forwarded that second email to you all about, people that would help write that grant.
Okay.
Also, we'll revisit it tomorrow.
Okay.
And, whenever you get time, just call me and we'll look at it, and those people deal with this grant.
Great.
So, that's something for us to look at.
So you have the preliminary numbers and information that they need to get us started, to start working on gathering those figures, Carrie Lee?
No, I don't. I just.
In that highlighted area that they
Oh,
said?
in the highlights?
Yeah.
No, I don't have those. What I was working on was the actual things that we had to do in the past.
Okay,
You know, storm.
that's right.
The new transformer, South, or Davis Street project, just everything in the past years that I have, on my calendars, that I keep notes on, I gotta go back through all them, write all that down, and pass it on to them. And, that's why David Wick was here, and he said, those people, if we just get all our stuff and hand it over to them, they will do a preliminary and say, yes or no.
Okay.
And we can go forward from there.
Sounds
So,
good.
I don't think they take anything until something happens.
All right. Okay. City Administrator's report.
I just have a quick report. I spent 4 days after the last council meeting, and I appreciate Jason coming in and signing. I think he pretty much picked up and stayed at the city hall all week. Spent 4 days doing bills from the last council meeting, and then started prepping and getting ready for the 2 new staff, the city clerk and the deputy utility clerk that was coming in, and getting that all prepped and ready to go. Ran into quite a few stacks of items that need to be researched and needed to be bills caught back up and paid. So still working on those, but better. You saw the stack of bills that got paid, and that takes a little bit of time, but got that done. Then I was sick for a week, and then finished up the airport vehicle. The courtesy van is ready to go. It's under our insurance with Myrma. The whole harmless letter is done, and the log that we needed for him to be able to do the courtesy van, we got that done and ready to go for Dell, and gave him the keys and the van today. And I was trying to think what else. All of the staff are bonded for bonds, as you all had asked for. That's completed and done. And even the new staff are done. Got that finalized.
How much did that end up costing?
Those are $525 per person. So.
For up to how much coverage? 200,000?
150,000 each.
Nope. Thank you. City Attorney's report.
Nothing too earth-shattering to report. Worked on, for the County Line Road project, I had to review a bunch of deeds, make sure that didn't see any title problems. That is something that, you know, the council needs to be thinking about down the road. I mean, that's gonna be a lot of money, that may or may not be there. I mean, but that'd be up, to you all to decide down the road. But there, Shannon Howe is working on that, so.
What is our match, what is our out of pocket for that project? I don't remember.
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
$398,000.
Okay.
But I will go next Tuesday at Ross County. I'm waiting, I'll get approved from you all, and I will meet with them and take over and ask for half of that from them. I talked to John Lake, so I will meet and see if they do a cost share on that. I've been talking about that, but wait until close to the project and everything, so I will see if they do half of that, so that's half of their road. They did always in the past pay for half the paving and everything, so.
Okay.
I think more discussion needs to be had on that.
I agree,
personally.
because before, yeah, I mean, and I kinda told Shannon the same, because the
There's a lot of
engineering.
utility that need to be moved, that's gonna be quite an undertaking.
Yeah, and the engineering fees alone are gonna be significant. So I told him before he gets too deep into the project, I thought he needed to come back
Yes.
and talk to the council.
I was very disappointed to know that it was such a short distance for that much money. I just couldn't believe it. Wow, just my 2 cents.
But, city court's going smoothly. I think I've told you all, there was a huge backlog when we moved to the county. So a lot of those old cases have been resolved and taken care of, so thanks to everybody for, you know, the police department, the clerk's office, making that happen. That's all I got.
Thank you, John.
How many open projects do we have? County Line, Clarence Cannon, is Mill Street open?
That is one that needs to be discussed. We need to reach out to the engineers, because the last discussion that was had on that was back in July. And we've already invested $234,000 in engineering fees to that project. And the discussions on that project was started in 2020. And here it is 2023. The project should be done.
Here, remember me asking for a parking lot on the paperwork that you do?
We approved that, we don't have restriction.
We need, on the bottom of our minutes, when you submit it, a list of what we're gonna put in the parking lot, that we need to revisit every week to see if we've done anything. And it's stuff just like that. It's, where are we at with Clarence Cannon, where are we at with County Line? It's either gonna close it, open it, or just move on. Because if we forget, if we keep taking on more and more stuff and we forget that that's limit out there, and then we just lost $250,000 because we're not gonna be able to fulfill it because we just bought something else. So please, if you could put that at the bottom.
I'll start a tabled items for Paul's report too, that can be tracked on a monthly basis.
Thank you.
John, is that it?
That's all I got.
Thank you. Any other questions for the attorney? All right. Planning and zoning report?
No.
Parks and Rec? They haven't met. Economic development?
No.
Administrative report?
I don't have anything except for maybe one has extra in there. It says new hires from the DMV.
You just wanted to bring up, just a little bit, he's helping us out in part-time.
Okay, so Joyce is helping part-time. And then I don't think it hurt to have an admin committee meeting, just to touch base, since we have new hires and things like that, on, if we can, Monday night.
The 11th,
Yeah.
and we need to get on track with mine that I requested.
The what?
We need to get on track with mine that I requested.
I'm sorry, could
In
you
my
all
interview.
speak up, please?
Oh, you're me.
Yeah, mine, yeah.
So, what time, Monday night?
I'm sorry, could you
Just speak up.
Oh, admin meeting Monday night at 5. And then, David Pellegros's, said something about he would be interested in being on that committee.
Okay. I'll reach out to him. Or you can.
Okay. Well, he said said he was interested, and I said,
Okay.
so.
Do you have room on your committee for another? What's your?
Yeah, I mean, cause Regina isn't on there anymore.
Okay, we'll replace her with David Bunker then. You're in agreement
You
with that?
have to,
Okay, I would like to add David Pelker to the administrative committee.
okay, I'll make a motion to add David Butler to the administration committee.
Second. I have a motion and a second to add David Pelker to the administrative committee meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have we had anybody put in for open positions yet?
No.
Shocking. City departments. Oh, Alderman Shoemaker, we haven't had a nuisance review meeting or.
We were supposed to have one last week, but
We didn't have very many show up.
anyway, the 13th at 5:30.
December 13th at 5:30 will be a nuisance review board public safety meeting.
Can we revisit that at 5:30?
Yes.
So, because I didn't know it until I saw it on the news, what's going on at the trailer court?
I didn't either. My grandma gave me a call and told me about it.
You watch WGEM.
Talking about the rats and the cats.
Rats and the cats and the roaches.
Rats and the cats and the roaches, I didn't.
That's a civil matter between the property owners and the tenants, so we have
Do we know who the
no fight in
property
that game.
owner is?
We do. Their name is,
You don't have to list the
One,
name.
which one, out of Florida, one out of Chicago?
one
or
got,
out
they're
of
partners,
California?
one's in Florida, one's in Chicago.
There's one in Florida, one in Chicago, and one in California.
Are they responding to anything?
They do have a manager that they've hired for the park, for the park.
Wasn't that done a couple months ago?
Yes.
And
When
it's
they-
gotten worse after the sewer debacle.
Yes.
So,
Might be something to discuss at the nuisance committee, so
I
we can
think
come
so.
up with some solutions.
just remember roaches, cats, and rats.
The cats don't eat the rats?
No.
No wonder as big as a cat.
Oh.
I will put that on the
I
agenda.
just.
Okay, city departments, George, you got anything for us this evening?
Yes, you should have my or all my, reports in your packet, I'm assuming. They were,
You know what assuming does, right?
yes, I do, absolutely.
But we do that.
But yeah, I had to catch up from, I believe it was June. In my report, there's, we have to figure water loss and everything, and since we couldn't get good numbers, I haven't been turning in the reports, but I've been doing the verbal part of it, just not that, but I still didn't have numbers. I just couldn't wait, so you do not have you have the production numbers, which we don't have the rest of the numbers to produce water loss or amount sold, so on and so forth. I'm hoping that we can get some decent numbers this month, so, or for November, because I have the report done, I'm just waiting on water sold, and, so hopefully I'll be able to get that done soon, and I won't be so far behind, so. See, the wastewater plant, we're down to the fence. If you've been down by there, you can see the poles are in. We're just waiting on them to come up and put the fence, install the gate.
The trees look nice.
Yes, yeah, the Berman trees are done, so all that's there. We need to get our shelving for the new building and a dehumidifier for our sludge press room. And then last is, I just need to remind you that the lead and copper survey is due October 16th of 2024. You do have a $500,000 grant that the city has been given. It's just, everybody else is trying to get these contractors to come and do it also, and we just gotta get moving on it.
Okay,
Because it has to go out for bid, there's a long process just to get your contractor in here.
so where do we need to start with this?
I don't have anything on it. I mean, it's Tamith, I know has has been given the information.
Okay,
So, yeah, we gotta get it out for bid, and, yeah, it's like a 16-page deal. It's quite cumbersome. And any help I can give you, I will. I just wanna make sure that we stay on top of that.
thank you. That would be something to put in that projects that need to be reminded of.
I'm not trying to dredge up any bad stuff, but what's going on with you and the police department in regards to these cars parked in your building down there?
I have talked to Zach. Yeah, Zach's here. Yeah, I talked to him the other day, and I've been able to talk to one of the other department heads about possibly moving them to a building that you have on, or the city has on Dover Street.
You want your equipment in that building down there, right?
Oh yeah. And
That's the ultimate goal.
That's the ultimate goal, yeah. And Zach and I are working on it. And like I said, I talked to OB. I haven't been able to catch up with. I haven't caught up with Terry and Carrie yet to make sure that they would be okay. Because you have a double, or you got a building with one side heated, one side not. Zach has agreed that he could put his stuff in the non-heated side. But they would have to be the only ones with keyed access, and if OB or any of the other guys needed to get in there, they just have to call the police. Police come unlock it, take them in there. That is not a problem.
Okay.
But yeah, they'll have to store that for the way I understand it, another 100 years. So.
Yeah, just as long as you all are working towards an ultimate goal, that's fine.
Yes, yeah, and then that'll get some big stuff out of other storage that then the other departments can use, and everything for water and wastewater will be at either the wastewater plant or the water plant.
Thank you.
You bet.
George,
Yeah, yes.
answer Adrian's question for me.
Adrian, did you have a question for me?
She forgot.
You had asked me a question about financial. In regards to.
There was the Hawk bill, is that what we're talking, there was a bill from Hawk. I believe that was it. It was for the DO probes that Tamitha sent everybody an email, and everybody responded back, and the money was spent. I don't know exactly, I don't know the financials as far as where the money was gonna come from. It had to come out of our normal budget. It wouldn't be something that would have been in the grant.
There's
The
my
USDA
question.
grant. Now, you did have the 18,000 that you got from Missouri Rural Water that you could pay for it out of there. Plus, we should have a decent amount in a bond reserve fund that I haven't seen where we are with that. I have no idea, like I said,
Is there any way you can find that out?
that would be.
We had that wasn't that reflected on the bank statement that you emailed, that bond reserve? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's two different, there's bond reserve and another one, but, yeah, cause you guys are putting money away every month with your bond payments
Well,
so that it could.
Some of the stuff that we're paying for, should it be coming out of that instead of out of general?
Really, there's not a lot that, everything that we've been paying for that I've asked for has been coming out of the USDA grant for the wastewater plant, because it's all for the wastewater plant. So the shelving and all that is coming out of the bond or the grant proceeds for the wastewater plant. This purchase for the DO meters is not
Part of that project.
Yeah, that's not part of that project. It could be if we wanted to, we have the receipt. We have to make sure that the fence is paid for, the shelving is paid for, and the dehumidifier is paid for. If there's additional money, we could turn that receipt in, and then you could be reimbursed up to whenever the balance is zero on the grant, because there is probably gonna be a little bit of extra money, just.
Keep the receipts,
Yeah.
turn them in.
Yeah, just right now, I don't wanna throw it at it, because again, we're waiting up to make sure the fence gets paid for, and, the shelving is very important, because, yeah, I'm
Your
getting.
equipment goes up.
Pardon?
Don't you have equipment that goes up on that?
We have supplies, and, we're, Terry's been doing a good job of getting all of our stuff off of his shelves, but now everything's on a pallet, so if I need to find something, it's gonna be very hard for me to find what I need. So I need to get the shelves, so I can get the stuff on the shelves, so when we need an emergency, I have it.
Have you ordered them?
No, I did not, I finally got, well, cause what's gonna have to happen is the city's gonna have to pay for them
You get reimbursed.
and then get reimbursed, yes.
We addressed that a little bit, cause we'd also talked about used ones and stuff and they can't be
That's
used,
right.
remember that?
I remember now.
Yeah.
And they're metal, aren't they?
They're metal, yes. Yeah, and we're, the U line is probably where we're gonna buy them from. And, what Mark's been waiting on the fence to get up so he could get that, amount to you guys to approve. And then he was gonna move on to the shelving.
Okay.
But, he said that we could go ahead and purchase it. Tamitha said we could use some of that $18,000. That from Missouri Rural Water will pay for it, turn the receipt in to Mark, and as soon as the fence is paid for, then he'll turn that in USDA, and you would be reimbursed for the fence. Or for the
Shelving.
shelving, yes. And then I can wait on the dehumidifier. That's more of a deal in the summer than right now.
Okay. All right, thank you, George.
You bet.
Dell Buckman with Airport, anything for us to see here?
We took delivery of that van today that the VFW boys bought us, and I'm very appreciative of that. I've been loaning my wife's Tahoe out to people, and so we're happy about that. We took delivery of 4,000 gallons of fuel Monday. That was bought at $3.95 a gallon. We had 2,450 gallons on hand that the city had paid $4.86 a gallon for, which brings us to where they have you have $4.30 invested in the fuel that's in the tank, and we're selling it for $5.39, which is $1.09 above what you've got invested.
About how much you sell per month, Dale?
I'm sorry?
About how much fuel do you sell per month?
It varies. I mean, when the crop dusters are in there, we might sell 3,000-4,000 gallons. If through the winter now, you might sell 200-300 gallons a week.
Okay. That's good.
I debated about even asking to buy this. The crop duster up in North Missouri needed 4,000 gallons. A tanker is 8,000 gallons. The price is way down to what it has been. That's why I asked permission to buy it. And hopefully that will work out. Also, the water heater blew up out there today. I went in and there was water all over the floor. The electric, we shut it off and got the water shut off. The electric boys came out and looked at it, Chris Whelan and them. It's just a small tank. He said that he went to Roby's and it's a $350 tank. I don't know, I mean, it's not something we absolutely have to have, but I'm gonna have to get a cap or something to cap a line off so I can turn the water back on so the toilet and stuff can be used if you decide not to buy a tank.
Okay.
Also, in the past, we've let the Coast Guard Auxiliary hold their meetings in our office out there. It's like every 6 months. And since the VFW had donated his van and talking to them, they had sold their building. They didn't have any place left to hold their meetings. So I gave them permission and they're there tonight holding their meetings. I hope that's okay.
Fine with me, council.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Dale. Street Department, OB. I think he's got his report.
Yeah, he reported in the book. He said he probably wasn't here tonight.
Can I ask why we have swept the streets 500 times in the last 2 weeks? Anybody know?
We get good looking for the parade.
But this was like, the thing is I work from home on Mondays, and not this past Monday, but the Monday before, I watched them go by my house 3 times. And that's 2 weeks prior to the street stroll. Do we have an agenda on when stuff is gonna be done, and put that at a time that they use somewhere else?
I have asked each department months and months ago to devise a preventive and necessary maintenance plan. So they know maybe every week, what things need to be, what tasks need to be complete on a rotating basis, and then what needs to be done every month or yearly, as far as reports or any inspections that are due. But I haven't seen that yet.
So why he's running so much is basically because the leaves are falling off the trees, and he's basically trying to suck the leaves off of the streets and everything else. That's why he's running 3 or 4 times a week on certain streets, is to get the leaves up.
They usually have like 2 passes.
And then they'll go on the curb.
They'll pick up everything.
So
I know what my dad, he said he said it sometimes or all the time, I don't know, but he's doing what he's told. He said it's not really a good street sweeper, it's more for like a parking lot. He said the suction on it is not very good.
We're just kind of scooting around. Now that you just mentioned that, I had a call last night to ask if we could extend the burn ban to the end of December, since the weather might be nice enough to finish getting burning the leaves. Does it have to go?
Is that something we can do, John? Or?
I think we can vote on it.
Okay.
I mean, the police aren't gonna write any tickets during that time.
Make a motion that we extend the burn ban till through the month of December.
All right, got a motion to extend the burn ban.
Or
the
let them
burn
capability
period.
to burn
If it's
through the month of
necessary.
December.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on. Electric Department, Carrie Lee, this report is in here as well.
I forgot my copy of my report, so I really can't talk about it, but it's there.
Okay.
It's normal procedures. Yeah, it's all more or less, normal stuff. We would help gas guys with the odorizer. It's set, I'll let him talk about that. Just
If and when we ever start closing electric meters and cutting people off, you have a way of labeling these meters so we know where they go back.
I use a permanent marker on them.
Okay,
And
so
I
you know where they
write
go
them on
back,
there.
right?
I turned in, actually today, I turned in the AMI 920 meters that we can shut off from downstairs, or my desk at my school.
Okay.
And if we can utilize that, all that information isn't in there, but if we have a serial number, we can shut that particular one off. And if while they're doing that, they're much better and faster typers than I am, and they can put a name and an account number in there real quick, that just puts us that much further. But what we run into is, you have several people that own rental houses, and a lot of times you don't know where that billing address is. So sometimes, and we gotta have that billing address put in there somewhere. I have to look at the AMI dashboard and figure out where that goes.
So is there any way that we, I know when the Vision representative came in, she said that they were gonna be able to transfer their data into ours versus us manually having to do that.
Exactly. If we had, I don't know how we're gonna do that, because we have the change-out sheets, which were our walking routes, and we have read out of the old meter, the serial number for the old meter, read in of the new meter serial number, and all that's on paper. We don't have any of that in the system. And we didn't have
transfer.
And we didn't have laptops to, when we change them out, to just go ahead and put it in at that time. So I don't know if that's something we have to do to get that sent to them. That way they can handle all that, or if we scan them all and send it to them, I'll have to
check that out. So I will.
Yeah, let's work on that, Carrie Lee, with having new staff down there and all the issues that we've had with the utilities. I don't want to increase the ability of human error. And I wanna make it as easy as possible for them downstairs, as much as possible, so we need to look at that. Yeah.
And, yeah, so, I mean, if we wanna use the capability to shut them off, we can still use that.
And we still have, how many meters left to switch out approximately?
We have 920 some odd installed. I had 1,400 in the shop. Or, we have 920 out of the 1,400 that we received.
Okay. But total, how many customers left to, how many meters we need to replace?
I got, I need to make sure we have everybody on the demand book and certain other 3-phase meters that I don't think we received. I haven't done an inventory of that, but I know Missouri Metalcraft doesn't. I know Aztec doesn't. I know all the major users. I don't have those.
Do you think that's gonna be a problem? I mean, it's a 2-year lead time on getting a new transformer. What about meters?
Transformers isn't nothing like that. Nothing. I mean, it's getting better. The meters are actually getting better all the time now.
I mean, not to where we have to wait like 6 months before we receive
I
the ship.
sincerely hope not. No. I can't give you a definite answer, but
sure.
Just a educated guess. No, it shouldn't happen.
What, for any more meters?
Yeah, to purchase, we still need to, we only have
1,400. Which I had sent all those numbers in to Vision, and the J-types, all that, and I still don't, without going through all the boxes, because they shipped them to us in pallets, and they're like, here you go. Well, they didn't say, here's your 3-phase, here's your residentials, here's your just class 120s. They were just in different pallets all over the place.
And you're missing some?
I'm hoping not.
He's still got inventory.
I still got inventory, because what we were concentrating on is residents only.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
We just got some that ordered 2 years ago.
Well, see, that's what I'm worried about.
No, I don't think I've ordered standalone meters to replace some meters, or even net meters for other projects, and it didn't take very long to get them. So that's why I'm thinking the smaller number, instead of ordering 1,000,
So
we're
I know-
gonna have that many.
I know we were waiting on, getting our new staff kind of implemented with the utilities and working out the kinks before we do any more meter switch out. But what is a time, do you have a time, what are we looking at? How long is it gonna take? But
If you say we start putting meters back in, I can start, we can start putting back meters in ASAP.
Because, but the meters that are already put in, I'm hearing have to be an account put with them, and there's still a process to do with the meters that were already installed.
Yes.
So.
It's gonna take some time. 900 meters, hand keying all those in, that's gonna take staff time. That's why I wanna talk to Vision, because that's not what the rep told me when I came in, because I had asked her specifically, I said, with the issue of what happened with Beacon, and I wanna make sure that the programs talk, and we're not having to do all of this. And she's like, no, we will make sure that it's seamless.
I'm just hoping that
Well,
the second
and that's
round of meters
fine,
we put in.
But I didn't
is-
know if if we had some way to send all that to them.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
But with all the with all the serial numbers, they don't have those. I mean,
Right.
they could pull them off the
They don't
shipment, but they
transfer.
don't know what
They're
serial
gonna
number
have
goes
to
to
be
what
hand keyed in.
address.
Okay.
Justin and Aaron passed their first year apprenticeship test finals.
Nice.
Scored well. On the building inspector side, we haven't had a big influx of, it's cooling off, so building's kind of slowed down. me and Terry ran into a situation of a generator being installed. We need to put something in the paper or let the citizens know. You need to come talk to us about the BTU load, because this particular home wanted to put in a generator, so we gotta upsize the meter. Well, come to find out, that house was already oversized, or the meter, they were using more than what that meter was called for.
Okay.
So Terry's got that under control, but on the building inspector side, I think we need maybe draw up another permit for solars and generation, and that way we've covered our bases. And then if we see anything on locates about installing generators or solar without a permit, then we gotta talk to those people. Okay?
Yeah, it could take a while to get a meter up here if we don't have it in stock. Some of these meters are hard to get.
That's all I got.
Thanks, Gary.
Yep.
Terry, gas department.
Geez. I know we're on spending freeze, but we got some test stations for our PS that we have to buy some animals for. Cause we're down to 9 animals, that's all we got left. And so far, this is the best deal I could find. We've already purchased, we've already got a cow for Far West. And it looks to me that it's pretty much a no-brainer. We could save $1,000 if we buy 25 of them. Cause you're looking at 129 versus 172 per anode. Does everybody know what an anode is?
No, would you please enlighten me?
All right, you have coated steel pipe down on the ground, and you gotta have an anode on it, put millivolts of protection on it, keep it from corroding. It's called a sacrificial anode. It gives up its life to save your gas.
Okay.
And we gotta keep at least 150 millivolts current, negative 150 millivolts current. That gives us 1.50. Otherwise, it's going dead. According to the state, if it goes below 0.85, negative 0.85, you can't protect steel. That's of course in salt water, but one of the worst environments you can put it in. But you got 8 of them right out there right now that it's bad, they're really bad.
Okay.
And you got 8 more coming behind us, probably next spring.
What's the lead time to get these in?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking probably just a couple weeks.
George, will you turn the air conditioning, I think, is on.
I think so.
Yeah.
But it's my recommendation that we go with at least 25 and save $1,075.
Well, you mentioned 16 right off the bat that you need right now. I mean, 8 you need
We
right
got
now and 8
9.
behind it, so.
We got 9, but we used to buy them by the pallet when
Okay.
Gary was running this. He bought 4 big pallets of them when I first came to work here.
Huh.
But we went through all them and now we're having to replace them.
Okay.
And back then, you could probably buy them for like $55 an anode. Now they're a bit more.
So moved.
All right, so we got a motion to, so the $3,225 for 25 anodes.
25 17-pound anodes.
Okay, I have a motion for that
Second.
purchase
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's not including shipping. I don't know what shipping is. Coming from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I guess I need approval to get my guys on the Energy World Net program so they can start training.
Yes. You've got 3 gentlemen, right, that need to start the training, and how much is that training?
I think it's somewhere between 150 and 300 a person per year.
Per year?
Yeah, it used to be 150, but it may have went up since I've been back.
This is also, I mean, they have to be certified to work in this field. They have to complete this training to get their certification.
Absolutely.
We hired the gentleman with the intent to complete this task, so.
Terry, heard anything from Raul?
Nope, not a word.
Not a word, no.
I don't know if he's still alive and breathing or what.
How long have you been gone?
When he left, no?
So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for that.
All right, I I have a motion to approve the, training for the 3 new gentlemen in the gas department. And 2 seconds, all those in favor?
Thank you
Motion
very
carries.
much.
Thank
How
you.
long has it been since you've heard from Ronald?
Probably since August.
Since August. Is there some way,
Is
John,
he
that
on
we
sick
can
pay?
just terminate him for cause? I mean,
No,
no? Why?
It's medical.
He's never called.
it's on medical. He's inactive in our system as of right now, though, I can't turn him inactive. And then once we get to a certain cutoff, we get some notification to ask if we would like to be relieved of his employment duties. But he's on medical. Yeah. He's not even,
Just more or less worried about it.
he's not even in the country.
Not even in the United States.
And the last thing I got for you is the YZ odorizer is in Adonia. It's anchored, it's hooked up, but it's running on default. It's being powered by Rawls, or not Rawls County, Audrain County's electric. And running it on default is dripping 1 drop of the odor per minute. Because we ain't got the controller hooked up yet. This is just to get us by until we get the controller hooked up.
Okay.
We gotta run 2 wires into Panhandle Station, and they gotta be there to hook it up. And the controller that we got, it's supposed to be able to go online to a cell phone, that you can get alarms from it, and see how much odor it's in it, and see what it's doing, and it's supposed to be state-of-the-art stuff. So we may end up having to get another cell phone service for this stuff. Unfortunate, but I think you'll be able to keep an eye. Saves from driving 45 miles.
Sure.
When you gotta go check it out. At least you could look at it on, we should be able to look at it on anybody's computer, know to get the password and stuff. I think it's a good deal. I think we paid $5,000 to have this, so we might as well take advantage of it. And I think when I talked to USDI, he's never hooked one of these up before. This is his first one, as far as the communication part of it. He wants to do it either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week. And I said, that's fine. I'll just get it set up with Justin Caldwell from Panhandle, and have him there at the same time so we can get all the wires running, box and everything like that. And they put 85 gallons of odor in it, so that should last you, I'm guessing, probably a little over 2 years. I'm hoping.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions? Feel free to ask.
You got the little one.
Excuse me?
You got the little one.
Oh, yeah, right.
Chief James.
See you later. Good luck, James.
I've got a few things. First one is the charger is out of service for now. We just had that taken out last week and inspected. The engine is shot in it. We could look at doing a possible rebuild, or just doing a complete engine swap, or looking at getting a new car. So I'm gonna be trying to get some prices on each one of these, estimated what it would be. That way we can look and see what's gonna work out best for us.
You're not talking about new car, are you?
No, just a new to us car. Just a new to us car, whether that's going
Like a
through.
highway patrol car or
Yeah,
something like
something like that, cause it's the designated SRO car.
Yeah.
Which we have to have by state statute, but I mean, it's not gonna be going out on pursuits or anything like that, so. That's why I'm thinking a rebuild or possibly even an engine swap may be sufficient for that vehicle, which would be obviously significantly less than trying to go other routes.
So how many vehicles do we have? How many Tahoes?
3.
We've got 3 Tahoes,
three
and then we got
Tahoes?
the one, well, we had the one truck. The other thing I would like to bring up is, have we gotten any closer to getting Vester cameras? Because right now, every single officer is on an expired vest for over a quarter year. We're looking at half a year to 3/4 of a year to get new ones in, unless we go with the hard armor. We've got to get moving on vests, because if something happens to one of these guys on an expired vest, I mean, we're talking buku money, whether the vest fails catastrophically or not.
And what were those quotes on those vests?
I don't have those on me. They're still all comparable, within $100 plus or minus to what I presented. Then the cameras, I know we're down to one, maybe two operational cameras right now. One has its days, the other one's working fairly regularly. I know that's not on the top of everybody's list. It's not even on top of my list at this point, but we've definitely need to get moving on the vests.
Is there any grant money out there, Zach, for this, or?
So there is, but it is the Bulletproof Vest Partnership. What it is, it's a reimbursement. That grant got pushed back. So typically it would have been out earlier towards June, July. So by the time we look at actually purchasing, we would already had that grant. However, we've received that grant 6 years in a row. I mean, it's fairly easy to get. We've never had an issue getting it. But we're not gonna know for sure if we get that grant until later on in the year.
So June or July in the summertime. How much
Most
did you
likely.
say the amount is?
It's a 50-50, so they pay 50 for
Okay.
50%. But
So
it's
if we
reimbursed.
purchase, we could more than likely get reimbursed for half of it.
Mhm.
How many you looking to buy?
I'd just be one for each officer.
How many is that?
So we'd be looking at 5. Yep. And I would highly suggest the hard armor. We're gonna be able to get it within 2 weeks of being able to order. Not to mention expires every 15 years instead of every 5. And we don't have to replace it for every officer. It's one size fits all. All we have to do is get the new carrier. So if we have turnover, give the new person the old armor and they're good to go.
You think we approved
I think we voted, haven't we voted and approved on that?
the vest purchase?
Are you sure?
No, because that was all put in for the new budget.
Yeah, you said to hold, you all said to hold until the new budget. But you're going on expired now.
We voted for the vest a long time ago.
I thought we did too.
It's summertime. When Walters was here, we voted for the vest.
No, it was something with the pistols. It was pistol holders.
We voted for those vests.
So how much are we talking a piece?
They range significantly. The soft armor, you could be ranging from about 1,600 a person to right at 3,000 a person. Just depends on what level you're wanting to go for. That's the other thing about the hard armor. If we do go with those, you get superior protection, and you're looking on those. I believe they were right at 1,900 per person.
1,900 per
So
person,
that's
roughly.
kind of an even point, but you're also only having to pay that out every 15 years instead of every 5.
So we're talking roughly 10 grand for a vest with the hard armor that will last at least 2 years, and only have to replace the.
And then we were gonna request the vest carriers as well, but I've already talked with the guys. We're just gonna use our clothing allowance that we have. We would use that. It's already in the budget, and forego doing boots, paints, things like that for the year.
Zach, 2 questions I have is, will those hard armors, because they're better protection, better quality, but they're also 15-year, will they give us better points on MIRMA as well for our?
So the vest that we have right now is the minimum requirement, which is basically everything. So as long as you meet that minimum requirement, it's not gonna affect anything.
So we have minimum required vests that are expired.
Yeah. Does MIRMA have, you think MIRMA has any?
I've talked with Jeff and he was looking into that. He did say that whenever we decide to go with the cameras, whatever we buy, they'll buy an additional. So if we're needing to do 4, they would buy the 5th one, or sorry, we could buy 3, they would buy the 4th one. We wanted to just do 2, one for a night card, one for a day card. We buy one, they buy the other.
Okay.
So that, I know that the grant is out there through MIRMA for that one. However, with the vest, I don't know, I don't think it is because they've got the DVP grant. So,
How many officers do you have on at a time, roughly?
it all depends. Scheduled, we have one on shift, so they'll have one person scheduled from 6 in the morning to 6 at night, one from 6 at night to 6 in the morning. However, whenever we get backed up, you have additional guys that come in. On my off days, I'm in office, so I'm also assisting with calls on those as well, so.
And these are a universal fit?
Yes, so the plates will be.
You do five, probably?
Yes, we'll be needing 5.
And we had 2?
I mean, they're gonna have to switching in and out of vest carriers every single day. We're just gonna.
So our
carry
next
carriers.
council meeting is the 28th. Right? 21st. Can you have those bids, bring those bids back on those vests so we can try to make a decision?
We want you to be safe.
Yeah.
We can do that.
And I really do think we already voted on it, but then there's a big discrepancy in the price of what you just said, so.
You do too?
I thought we did in the summertime.
So we have 3 councilmen that thinks we already voted on this.
Zach and I both were like, no, you didn't.
So,
We had a conversation and you had a very intense conversation.
We've had this, I know we've had this conversation a lot,
We
so.
voted on 2 things that night, you and Walker were there, we voted on 2 items that y'all wanted, we passed one. But you look at the meetings,
We can't vote on
I said
it.
we looked at
Yeah,
the-
there's 2 items that we passed,
So,
Okay.
that's fine, you go get 2 new bids, I don't care.
If we
or bring what you already have if there's.
just bring one, so we can make it official.
Okay, yep, I'll bring it for the next meeting. Other than that, that's all I had.
There were some expenditures in the back of your all's packet. For PD. That was,
Oh, and the other thing is there was a bill for battery and some repairs on, the cars from Turpin's. However, those are going to be covered by the installers who did the light installs on our vehicles. That was, created by how they installed those. So that's being sent to them, they're gonna cover that, I don't know if they made it in there. But if they did, that's what that would be for, be batteries and new wiring harness.
Those are not in the expenditures.
They're not.
I'm invoicing,
Okay.
wireless.
Okay, never mind, so those won't be in there.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Basically, all you got in here, Kim, is just, supplies, isn't it?
Yeah, office supplies, and then we have some for, evidence supplies.
It was for legal reasons, we couldn't enact it.
We need a special motion for those, John?
I'd say so, since we don't have a budget.
I'll move to go ahead and approve the items that the police department have in here for, that they're requiring. It's mostly office supplies and a lot of stuff like that.
We have a motion to approve the, PD expenditures with the invoices in your packet, and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for putting this together.
We appreciate it, thank you.
One thing I noticed in the packet that, I may have told the mayor this, but, and I told Alderman Shoemaker, when the redistricting, you know, we changed our ward boundaries, so it looks to me like his house is now.
So we will have, in addition to this, 1 Alderman Ward
3
3
for 1 year.
for 1-year term.
When did we redistrict?
I think it was a while ago when it might have been back in May, but it won't go into effect till this election. Cause I don't think you were on up here yet, but yeah, second ward was vastly, the population in second ward was far under first and third.
Well,
Yeah. So they, no, add it. There's gonna be 4 slots.
Oh, so.
Yeah.
But it's.
So no, they evened out the population in all the wards. And so second ward grew, and a lot of the Marion County part of town is now in the second ward.
is that done by the whole of the council?
Yeah.
Didn't have to be done by the whole of the people?
It was in our ordinances to do after every census. So once we got the 2020 census data, Mark Twain Council of Governments helped put together a proposal using their computer programs that equalized the wards, and then the council approved it. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've heard from all departments, so that's all we have for regular session. If I could have a motion to go into closed session.
You have to have a reason, or state a reason, a purpose.
Yeah. As provided for section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri for hiring, firing, disciplining, or pruning of employees by a public governmental body.
It's for hiring and firing. Or disciplining.
Huh?
It's
Yes.
for hiring, firing, disciplining. You have to state
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
That's what he read.
Right.
So I have a motion to go into closed session. Do I have a second? All those in favor, roll call vote. Alderman Shoemaker. Alderman Saunders. Alderman Osborne. Alderman Watkins. Alderman Greenie. Alderman Moss. Motion carries. We're now in closed session.
Could I ask a short question that maybe pertains to this?
Yeah.
When they were out there doing the engineering for this water line, they're talking about coming up from County Road 370 and coming up Highway 24 in front of the South Lake under all those roads, across in front of Quinn's, then up the airport road under all that asphalt, across the electric lines, other utilities. Why don't they look at going from when they get to come up County Road 370, cross the highway, go east on Hereford Lane, there's no houses, nothing in the way, no utilities, then turn north on County Line Road, you got one house to cross in front of. And then
Yeah, I mean, they've been, I don't think the city's had much involvement in that. They've been cleaning the road.
But they could have.
Well, I think, I'd ask them.
Well, the city is gonna be paying for it, the city should be able to have some input, and it would look to me like it'd be a way lot cheaper. And you come in off
But I
the
think
county line
they've
road.
already got some of the I don't know, I mean, it involves the easements that are already there.
Well, they were talking about using an easement that come across, Quinn's land went from the South Lake to the water treatment plant. I think that's been scrapped.
I believe.
I know this is Clarence Cannon doing it, but you guys are gonna find out paying for it. And if you gotta put water lines underneath asphalt roads and in front of, take care of people's trees, buy the trees in front of Quinn's house, I talked to the guy quite a long time about it, and
You talked to Heath?
yes.
You talked to Heath Hall? What was his response?
He was gonna talk to his guys about it, who was gonna be wind up working on the line.
Okay.
And I never heard back.
Okay.
Right.
But I think it should be looked into. I
I'll-
think it could save you thousands of dollars.
Right. I can, like I said, I usually talk to Heath once a week. I can bring it up and ask him, per the
If you
discussion
get
we
a chance
had.
to talk to him and you want me to
Okay.
explain what I'm
Yes.
thinking, I will be happy to.
Okay.
And they can tell me, no, that's out of the question, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, as a tax-paying person here, I mean, you have a right to ask and voice your opinion. So I'll reach out to Heath Monday morning, and then give you a call.
That'd be great.
Okay. All right, everyone, if we could, we'll move into the, library conference room.
One
since he can't be in Ward 3, no.
Second? All in favor? Now back in open session. Need a motion to, no votes were made in closed session, in executive session? Did we vote for something? I am so sorry, we did. Where's those minutes at?
Yeah.
We voted, so I need a motion to approve all,
Maintain.
motion to, help me here.
Maintain current, salaries for the city clerk, deputy clerk, and its assistant.
Now administrative assistant.
But I thought there was, okay, motion to maintain the pay for, and the titles would be city clerk, Jennifer McDaniel, deputy clerk, Danette, what is Danette's last name? Henderson, administrative assistant, Phoebe Ransom.
And then Kim.
Oh, all in one. And also a motion to, move Kim Beers out of probation period into full-time status with a pay increase to $19.50 an hour. Have a motion? And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Someone asked me, I sent out an email to you, Tamitha, about the pay.
I didn't realize we got back over here for that.
Okay.
On the Tessie on our monthly.
Okay, your pay.
Yeah, it was never put in this month.
You should have gotten on the first, one in October. I'll go back and check that. So you got one, but you didn't get two because we only had one meeting in October. So it'd be 125 for
It's
October.
supposed to be just $250 a month, I thought.
$250 a month is all for
$250 a month.
No, it's a salary.
$250 a month.
It's $250 a month.
Okay.
Because the last time it was early, it was like October 26th.
Then I will
They went
correct
check
that
right
with
away,
Tessie.
it was done.
Cause I had it as, okay.
The only time
That's-
it is reduced is if
You
it,
miss.
if
You
you
miss a
miss
meeting,
multiple meetings, you have to miss several before, I think, or
I would have to
Several
review that
people have
ordinance.
asked.
I believe you have to miss several before it's reduced.
Okay, there's nothing else to discuss, so if I could have a motion to adjourn.
So many.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned, thank you.